Precisely, yes.
Oh shit! Oh,
You
my
okay?
keyboard.
Oh no.
I just knocked my spicy chocolate milk all over my keyboard.
Oh dear.
Jiggle, 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 jiggle. Hello, hello.
Hello, hello.
So,
Uh,
how have you been doing?
I am well, thank you. Just finished playing tabletop with Astral Hammer and the DMC. That was very entertaining. A lot of people said very kind things about me, so that was a bonus.
That is always a bonus. So, welcome to the stream. Would you like to introduce yourself? Name, pronouns, that kind of thing?
Absolutely. I am Forneia, she, her, and I am a variety slash retro streamer primarily. I mostly do more difficult things in general when possible, but I'm not adverse to flailing around with something unfamiliar.
Totally fair. So, what platforms are you on?
I am on Twitch exclusively, which I realize is very recently not a very popular prospect, but it's where my audience is. So, and I am getting paid for it, and I need that money because I am poor. So, I don't have a whole lot of choice in the matter.
Yeah, yeah, I can relate. Not entirely, but at least in ways. So, do you have any nicknames? Do you go by any?
Not generally, but I am entirely fine with folks just calling me Forn.
Okay. But typically, people just call you Fornea?
You know, it's funny, like, a lot of people have gotten my name wrong in such creative ways. I suppose some of them could be considered nicknames.
I can relate to that. I was called Bailey for quite a while, but by one streamer because she misread my name and then just didn't properly correct herself, and I found it cute.
Well, situations like that are how we know it's a wonderful life.
Exactly. So, how did you decide on your VTuber name?
No one's actually asked me that directly, so I get to say, それは秘密です.
I'm going to
That's a
pretend I
secret.
understand that. Oh, it's a secret?
Think of it as a puzzle for folks to kind of solve. There is a trail of how I came to it.
That is totally fair. I'm not going to force you to divulge secrets. Do you happen to have a catchphrase?
Not especially, although usually when things go wrong when I'm playing something, I do tend to default back to let's try this again, shall we?
I wouldn't be surprised if
Which
that one's fairly common.
it is very specifically a reference to Loom. In Loom, there is a point where it's very early on, so this isn't really a spoiler, all things considered, where the player character Bobbin Threadbare uh, is basically sailing across the sea on a log, and there's a water spout, and if you just go into the water spout, he gets hurled into the air, screams hilariously, comes down into the water, climbs back onto the log, and will say that line, and basically be like, okay, this is a LucasArts game. I don't actually die. Let's let's get this right this time. How about it?
Okay, that makes sense. Can you briefly describe your aesthetic or lore?
I don't really have much in the way of lore beyond simply being, or at least intending to be comforting in something of a glamorous manner. I am, in fact, a say-so streamer,
That
so
was my
one
next
might.
question.
Mm, So one might initially make assumptions based upon my presentation, but it is in fact actually a goal of mine to kind of decouple those social associations in my mind.
Yeah, and that's definitely gonna take some time, and it's gotta have effort put into it. But
Effort,
I think you're a
time, and
kind of
representation.
mermaid.
I am, in fact, a mermaid.
Yes, I was right. It's just not really shown with your PNG tuber, unfortunately.
Not on not on the Fuji reaction. No, the full image. It's quite visible.
Yeah, yeah, I believe you had shown that one in the Diverse Hearts Discord.
That I have.
Yeah. So, what kind of audience do you want to reach?
I don't really have a specific kind of audience that I want to have exactly. I'm mostly interested in being someone who makes others happy, much like my mentor. It's, like I am absolutely in for a lot of, social reform and, other kinds of, major issues, very progressive end of things. But at the same time, it definitely takes a toll to constantly have those kinds of things presented to you. Here's the problems we have to face. Here are, it's like things didn't go well here. Uh, we have to pull ourselves up by our bootstraps and try again, etc. It's very tiring, and being immersed solely in that is very draining. So my goal is to help folks just have a way to wind down, relax, and have some good vibes in a kind of space that still holds those ideals.
That is absolutely lovely. I like to hear that. And is
Thank
that
you.
also kind of what inspired you to start getting into content creation?
Uh, Sort of. It's kind of those things where I have found that this is basically the only way that I'm going to make an income at this time, and I need to live.
Unfortunately, we
So,
all do need income.
indeed. Would I do it without the need for income? Absolutely. Because I enjoy having company with others and, being able to share experiences or, good feelings, good humor, good jokes, good moments, and all that other kind of thing. I am very, very happy to do that. I will often, even in my own down personal time, just screen share something and just be like, hey, you want to hang out? And, you know, it's not really that different for me. It's like, okay, I'm just screen sharing with a lot of people and I'm entirely comfortable with that and I enjoy it. I know a lot of people say that they get very tired after streaming for a fair amount of time. I'm over here doing like 6 hour streams and just being kind of like, the only reason I'm stopping is because then I'm not going to get anything else done if I do.
Yeah, I can definitely relate. Also, Big Al with the $20 donation. Thank you. Let me know what voice
Hey.
clip you want me to do. Where were we? Where were we? How long have you been in content creation?
So that's a little bit of a funny story. Like, if we want to talk about how long have I been VTuber adjacent, because strictly speaking, I'm only a PNG tuber right now because my avatar still hasn't arrived. Wanted it to be ready for this, but
I'm gonna call PNG tubers like proto VTubers, like not
fair enough.
entirely the exact same, but like precursors.
Sure, we can go with that. But as far as I've been doing this, I officially started on November 16th. That's when I got everything going of 2002. However, this is not the first time I have streamed. The first time I've actually attempted streaming in general twice prior, with extensive periods where I just wasn't between each. The last time I was doing this, I think I stopped around 2019, I want to say. And I think I got started on that around 2015, 2016, something like that.
On
Uh,
style
and,
pre-evolution. True.
and then my first efforts were in, I want to say, 2011, and didn't really last more than a year. It was kind of I was streaming as something of an offshoot of a different internet community at the time, which has since fallen apart and is not the kind of thing one puts on their resume at this point. And
Yeah,
a
that
lot of
kind
the
of
folks,
happens.
a lot of folks in that territory, um, at the time, I enjoyed their company. Then August of 2014 happened, and a lot of those associations became undesirable. So,
Understandable.
mhm. So strictly speaking, I have been streaming for quite a large amount of time, but there has been no super dedicated effort to, you know, stick with it beyond casual use until last year.
Okay, and have you been seeing success with it, at least in some way?
I have, yes. I still have, things very small scale for the time being. You know, like f- I think the viewer average that Twitch is reporting to me currently is like 6.5 or something around there. So it's not a huge audience, but you have to temper that with, okay, there's like a half hour or so of people getting in, I'm at the I'll be streaming soon page, etc. So honestly, I
Mm-hmm.
would say it's probably more around like 8 to 10 is more like regular viewers, and I have been receiving, a fair amount of support from my friends and some new friends that I had not made prior to VTubing.
Excellent. That's what I like to hear. Like creators actually getting support and being able to do what they love.
Mm. I will freely admit that a lot of it is uh, a friend of mine using my streaming as an excuse to just throw money to me to help me out.
That is totally fair. Who is this lovely person? This is Forneia on Twitch.
Hello,
Are you
hello.
also on YouTube, or is it? No, you said Twitch exclusively, right?
As far as streaming goes, I do upload my VODs to YouTube, but that's, unless you're looking for it specifically, you're not probably not going to find it. It's mostly just there as an off-site archive.
There we go. There's her Twitch. Welcome back,
That
by the
looks to
way.
be that looks to be the one.
So, is there kind of
Ye-
content you would like to do more of?
I am very, very fond of RPGs. They're pretty much what I principally play most of the time and what I have historically done so. But RPGs are a little bit of an ask for a fledgling sized audience since
Yeah.
there's, a lot of very potential downtime. So, unless you have enough of an audience to have, a kind of conversation back and forth very regularly, it can very easily drift into the realm of, okay, time to do a bunch of filler fights before we can actually get to more story goodness or hit to an interesting set piece or something, and that can get rather dull. So, I would definitely like to do more of those, but I can bide my time on that one.
Yeah. Yeah, I get that. Wanting to be able to do all the content, but not being able to.
Mhm, mhm.
Is there any kind of content you'd want to move away from?
Not especially. I'm not doing anything I dislike at this point in time.
That is good to hear.
I suppose less scuff, but good luck with that.
Yeah, you gotta essentially drop being a VTuber.
Pretty much.
Uh,
I
s-
feel like if one were to quantify it, you would have a scuff score on a character sheet.
yeah, it's like VTuber bingo card, and it's like it's all just different ways scuff affects you.
Absolutely, absolutely.
What is something you wish you were taught when you first got into content creation?
Ooh. Mm, I would say I would say that networking is probably my largest failing. The Pride-a-thon event itself has actually been very helpful in solving the networking problem because, I see other VTubers and, streamers and whatnot as, potential friends more than anything else. I understand some folks see it as like a competition. I don't, and I think that's kind of a self-destructive mindset.
Yeah,
It's
I
like
would agree with that.
it's
I
like
it's just harmful to think of it as other streamers are competition.
it's self-sabotaging. It's a very negative perspective, and it's like, okay, so the logical argument is, what about the bad actors or the bad faith elements? And those do exist. There's no sense in denying it, and nor should we.
Just call them
But
out
at
when
the
you see
same
them.
time, exactly. But at the same time, if we assume that that's the standard, then doesn't that speak rather strikingly of our situation? So rather
Honestly,
than
yeah.
making such an assumption, I would prefer to take folks at face value unless proven otherwise.
Yeah, honestly, that's that's kind of the direction I tend to take as well. Is there a kind
I
of
can.
content you've wanted to make or see but feel like it's too niche?
That's kind of how I'm feeling about doing RPGs. It's like, can you do RPGs? Absolutely. But as said, there's more caveats on that. As far as subjects outside of RPGs, part of me just kind of wants to talk just gaming history on a lot of things. I have, in fact, actually, under a different name, uh, written pages that I've contributed to published books about video games,
Oh, really?
and um, particularly RPGs, but other things as well. So a part of me, really enjoys just kind of finding the paper trail about things. Like an offhand thing that I can think of is a game that I hold near and dear to my heart, Makai Toshi Saga, which was released outside of Japan as the Final Fantasy Legend. Would you believe offhand if I told you that that game had an influence on Pokemon?
Final Fantasy Legend?
Mm-hmm. For the Game Boy, the first RPG on Game Boy,
Huh. I had no idea. But I mean,
and
it's not entirely surprising. Final Fantasy did end up having its influence on so many different games.
well, that's the thing. The Final Fantasy Legend was just a localized title. The actual game's title, as I said, is Makai Toshi Saga, and that's part of the Saga series of games, the
Oh,
first one. And, that's an RPG series that's been going on nearly as long as Final Fantasy, and the primary creator of that series, Akitoshi Kawazu, as far as I'm aware, is longest uh the longest associated original Squaresoft personnel to still be affiliated with Square Enix.
oh, wow. They're like not a young company either.
No. He worked on Final Fantasy and some of their prior projects as well.
The OG Final Fantasy?
Yeah,
Wow, like that has ties so far back. Jeez.
absolutely. And there's all kinds of other rabbit holes that I could get into about the whole thing. But, you have questions to ask, and I feel like I've taken too much time already on that one. So I would like to just talk nerd history, but it's hard to find others that can do that. So that's a little difficult. Not to say that folks wouldn't be interested, but that takes preparation, and I think it's best as a conversation, at least with one other person who is aware of things so they can kind of bounce their own perspectives of such.
That's true, but there is also value in just putting out your thoughts, your opinions into like videos and podcasts and stuff. Because people will listen.
Oh, I don't doubt that. I do participate on other formats outside of my streams.
That is good. Good, good, good. So, what's the biggest project you're currently working on?
I don't really have projects such as they are. Most of my time I'm spending just either doing the streaming or trying to do things uh either related to those other projects that I was talking about, those other like audio shows and whatnot, or trying to keep things together in my personal life. I'm not the best person to do planning. If anything, I would say my biggest project right now is getting my avatar working. I have a prototype. It's going to take time to get it all working and get the adjustments made.
I can relate. Personally, my biggest project is this, and I am pretty lazy about getting things set up, so I'm like, it's just the group PNG for reactive Fugi, so I don't have to change anything when I'm calling somebody else.
No, I understand. I understand.
I'm lazy but efficient.
On my end, it's not really so much laziness so much as it is executive dysfunction.
Oh yeah, I've had to deal with that before too. It's such a bitch.
hmm And that's only the tip of the iceberg that I will not be getting into.
And we don't need to. If you could
Indeed.
collaborate with any creator, who would it be?
I'm going to go with my mentor, Sarah Lene, who undoubtedly would have actually been part of the Prideathon effort, but she had arrangements to be going to Offkai, so she's at Offkai for the
Ah,
weekend and was not able to make it. But she provided me with a lot of insight and guidance and understands that I'm the kind of person who needs more like hands-on help when it comes to learning new things. And I would not be able to do what I'm doing without her assistance. So I would definitely like to do something with her someday.
that makes total sense. Have you had a collab that really stands out to you?
I mean, outside of this one, the entire Prideathon has basically been my second collab if you want to encompass it into one singular entity rather than, you know, all of the more component efforts, in which case, it's like, oh, now I have plenty of them. Uh,
So it's like
but
your first, or this event is like your first real official diving into collaborating with other creators?
it would be the second. The one I was going to mention would, in fact, be the first one that I did. And that was an archipelago collab with my friends Frankomatic and Cessball, who are also streaming on Twitch. Frankomatic, in particular, has been on YouTube making videos for very old and obscure games for well over a decade. Um, very, very cool person. Very, very chill,
Nice.
very fun, and, knows a lot of the old stuff there.
Nice. So, what skill would you say has taken you the longest to improve?
To improve self-motivation.
Self motivation, eh? Yeah, I had to work on that one too.
Yeah, I'm still working on that one. I'm very much more or less of an actor and more of a reactor. I find it far easier to come up with, you know, thoughts, improvements, or even take actions when something is presented to me rather than when I need to take initiative.
Yeah, like it's easier to springboard off of a prompt than to dive into the ocean and catch a fish,
Absolutely.
so to speak.
Indeed.
So, how do you like to spend your free time not working on content?
Mostly playing games of various sorts. You know, I like new things. I enjoy, it's like, oh, this came out. Oh, this has been on my radar for a while. Someone said something nice about this one. Someone said something about this one that I want to put to the proof. Mostly it's gameplay for the most part, but I do also enjoy tabletop role play and other such things. One thing I would have liked to have gotten into, but the opportunity never really presented itself, was to play War Machine, which is a tabletop war game made by Privateer Press. And at one point in time, that sounded like a lot of fun to me, but the company underwent some new direction decisions and has not sounded attractive for a fair number of years now. So I feel
Which
that
is
ship has
fair.
sailed.
Yeah, so, because sooner or later you gotta move on. It's unfortunate, but reality.
Absolutely.
So, where do you want to see your platform in 5 years?
5 years. I can't even see where it is in a week.
Fair.
What am I even having for dinner? I don't know.
I wonder
I am
that
not.
too.
I am not a long thinker. I am very much a in the moment kind of person.
Yeah, I'm personally a lot more of the in the moment, but I've been forcing myself to like actively plan things out, set a schedule, and actually commit to it. Like,
Understandable, and I can definitely respect that. I do find self improvement to be basically the most admirable effort an individual can undertake. So,
absolutely.
I do commend you for that and
Thank you.
appreciate it.
Like when I started off streaming, I did a month straight of streaming every day to get used to it, kind of thing. Then I switched back to a
Mhm.
few days a week. Then I switched careers, and now I'm working construction. And it's like I don't want to stream during the week at all, so I'm just going to stream on Saturday, Sunday. Most of the time, it's just
Right.
Saturday.
Understandable.
Honestly, I should be streaming more on Sunday than Saturday.
But that is the day of rest.
For some people. Do you happen to have a favorite music genre?
Not especially. It's more in the realm of I like to listen to compositions more so than songs would be the way to that I would phrase it. Like, your average like label music band thing is not my territory, but if we're going to go listen to a soundtrack by Yoko Shimomura, that will have my attention.
Fair enough. What song would be played endlessly on loop in your personal hell?
In personal hell, I'm going to go with the one that I can't actually remember what it is. I remember more or less the like an ongoing harmonic for it, but I know that it plays back in my head incorrectly, and I cannot remember what any of the other bits in the blanks are. So it just loops in my head over and over again, and I know that's wrong, but I don't know what's right.
but but what is it?
I don't know. That's what bothers me. I
Oh,
can't even check it.
Like you
I
got
can't
a
even
tune
discern
that's
how it is supposed to go because I can't remember what it is.
it's just your brain trying to remind you of a
Something
song that doesn't quite remember.
precisely, and it's a half-faded memory played back incorrectly, and it's so bothersome in that I just ugh.
Fair enough. Fair enough. Do you have a food that you like that not many others do?
That I like that others tend to not. Does pineapple on pizza count?
Apparently, but like I love it.
That's the pineapple on pizza is my interpretation of fighting the power.
Absolutely. Pineapple goes on pizza.
I like pineapple, jalapeno, and black olives.
On pizza?
Yes.
Yeah, that sounds pretty good, to be honest. If you could have anything for breakfast, what would it be?
Cake or brownies. Actually, no, brownies. Brownies.
Brownies?
Brownies.
Brownies
I'm
are quite tasty.
I may be known to have a confection in the morning here and there.
I try not to in the morning. I do have like a boost. But it's just hard for me to eat solids in the morning when I first get up.
Mm-hmm.
Uh
Understandable.
what topic could you talk about the most?
Video games.
Yeah,
I think I've already proven that point.
I would say so. Yeah, get it. Is there a topic that you would want to avoid at all costs?
Um, that's kind of a hard question to answer because it's like I'm not thinking about anything that I don't want to talk about, so I don't really have an answer for that in a way that I can put it out there because I'm already not thinking about it, and so I'm not going to start a topic about it, if
That
that
is
makes
totally
sense.
fair. Yes, being gay is good. That's why we're doing charity stream for good rights.
Indeed.
Who's the most interesting person you have met or interacted with?
Interesting person. Hmm. 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 I suppose, strictly speaking, the most interesting individual would be someone that, at this point in life, I do not think highly of, and for good reason. But you remember how earlier I said that I was originally streaming as something of an offshoot of a community at the time of the 2011s, 2012s, around that territory. That community that I was streaming as an offshoot of, uh, that was the Lord Cat community. I don't know if you've ever heard of him, and I don't really encourage you go figuring anything out.
Okay, I will
Uh,
avoid that topic then. I
I'll
was
just say
literally
that
about to Google it.
I'll just say that they got banned off of Twitter for being toxic. I think that is a kind of metric that is difficult to achieve and probably speaks for itself.
Yeah, yeah, I'd say it speaks for itself, eh?
But at the
Getting
time
distracted.
prior to that, they had he had a fair amount of ambition to him that at the time I respected, but in more recent years, or rather the years afterwards, you know, the cracks kind of show, and I see like, okay, this could have been done better if he didn't hold this position, or he was saying these things at that time, and I find him to be an interesting metric to basically hold as someone to learn from despite their best efforts.
True. True. If you could have lucid dreams, what would they be about?
Um, Honestly, I have kind of a bad relationship with my dreams as is.
Fair enough.
Uh, I Most of my dreams are struggling with elements of being trans, realistically speaking, or being trapped in positions where, something horrible is going to happen and I can't do anything about it. So if I could have a lucid dream where I had more control, then I think it's going to be, I'd like to give myself a happy dream for once.
Yeah, I can see that. Like I don't get the best of dreams all the time, so I use substance that I like to help me not have dreams.
Hmm.
Has
I
any
can
s-
understand that.
yeah, has any story gotten you to change your perspective?
Any storage, let me change my perspective. Hmm. Could we come back to that one? I think I need to have some time to think about that
Oh
one.
yeah, that's totally fine.
Thank you.
Is there anything on your mind you feel should have more attention brought to it?
I would say the subject that I was kind of speaking of earlier, which is you know, feminine bodily acceptance. Like you look at my avatar, and it's very easy to come to the conclusion that oh, this is something erotic or erotic adjacent because her chest is exceptionally large. But the fact of the matter is some individuals are just particularly chesty, and that could have no bearing on their social status or social perception or anything else. And, it's one thing to appreciate the way someone looks, but to make judgments or to or
Objectify them
objectify.
specifically as that, it becomes
Right.
problematic.
Precisely.
Oh
Yes.
shit! Oh,
You
my
okay?
keyboard.
Oh no.
I just knocked my spicy chocolate milk all over my keyboard.
Oh dear.
We're good though.
Do you need do you need a moment?
Um, not immediately.
Alrighty, fair enough.
I shouldn't have hit it under my mic. That was a dumb idea.
This is why I use a travel mug for my tea. It has a screw on top with like a little button that you press on the back, and that opens up a little hatch. And it's
Yeah,
only open as
I
long as
should
it's
really
depressed.
have like a sealed thing.
Hmm. Yeah, I would recommend the kind I have, the Contigo travel mug. It has served me well.
Yeah, I seriously need to invest in one of those. I think I might have one, but I just haven't gotten it because I have a stemless wine glass of spicy
Mm,
chocolate milk,
right, right.
but it was just happening to hide where my microphone was blocking. But yay, like in the first couple hours, get chalky milk all over my keyboard. This will be fun.
Yeah, you might want to tend to that, honestly.
Yeah, I'll have to do that soon-ish. I'm gonna have to pull out one of my backup keyboards and plug that in. By backup keyboards, I mean one that isn't as broken. But so far, it seems to be working fine.
Hmm.
Uh,
Hmm.
what would you say is the weirdest way you've met somebody?
Weirdest way I've met someone. When I was young, we had uh an elderly couple living next door. At this point, they've sadly passed, but it was also like we're talking like 25 years ago at this point, and they were
Yeah,
already
like
rather old.
it is a part of life. It's sad,
Hmm.
but we can't avoid it.
And I would occasionally just kind of go over there and hang around with them because, they were very friendly and they liked me enough. And, occasionally they'd give like a milkshake or something, and that was neat. But
And who
they
doesn't like
would occasionally.
milkshakes? Except for the
Exactly.
except for those who are lactose intolerant.
Well, then you get one that's lactose free in some manner. You can go
Yeah,
for a
something like
vegan
that.
milkshake.
You gotta bring all the boys to the yard.
I'm partial to the ladies.
Fair enough, I am bi.
Entirely fair.
What
But
is hmm?
she would, they would occasionally speak of their grandson. And when I was in sixth grade, um, there was, in fact, a point where it was just kind of lining up to like get someplace when like, the bell rang between classes and whatnot. And I spontaneously made friends with, this boy. And it turned out he was the grandson of that elderly couple. So I ended up spontaneously just kind of meeting him and making friends with him, even without them like arranging a meeting or anything.
Huh. And it just happened by happenstance?
Complete serendipity.
Nice. It's so fun when it works out that way.
Indeed, indeed.
It just makes it feel a bit more special, don't you think?
Yeah, whenever something comes together in just such a way.
Absolutely. Like this diverse hearts. Where are we at? What's the most amazing natural occurrence you've witnessed?
Hmm.
Oh shit, there were some that you didn't want me to. Like, I'm so bad about remembering that stuff.
It's fine enough. Let's see here. Most amazing natural occurrence. So I will be entirely honest. I do not leave my domicile especially often. So most natural occurrences of interest would be in the realm of I was young because I was forced to be outside far more often than I am now.
Okay.
And even then, they're not the most common of things. Like, there were attempts to see an eclipse or something like that, and it didn't pan out for one reason or another.
Oh,
So
fair enough, fair enough.
natural occurrences or phenomenon are not really a large part of my life in general, realistically speaking.
None of your business with the 20. Thank you. Yeah, it's not like a lot of people actually don't quite have an answer to that they're entirely satisfied with, but I still like to see what does come up because everybody does have their own experiences.
Entirely understandable. I imagine, someone, who has a more outdoorsy or at least outdoor tolerant lifestyle than I do would have something like, "Oh yeah, I witnessed the birth of goats," or something like that.
I've only done lame stuff like see the northern lights.
And more than me, I would be entirely in with seeing an aurora.
I don't even think we
Unfortunately,
went
that's
out of our
over
way to go
there.
see it.
Yeah, going out of the way to see it is kind of the problem. That's over there. I'm here.
Ball lightning? That would be awesome to see.
That would be pretty neat.
Would you ever go to space if given the chance?
Oh, absolutely. You
It does
know,
seem pretty cool up there.
I would entirely be on board with being an interplanetary colonist given the opportunity and, reasonable overseeing as opposed to someone who's gunning for it and that will go unnamed.
Yeah, like there's somebody that's I'd rather not be leading the charge, but like can't really
For
fight their
safety
funding.
reasons, if nothing else. Good goodness.
Yeah, they can't even run a social media platform. How can they run a planet?
Right.
Where are we at? What do you resent paying for the most?
Healthcare.
Yeah, me too. Like, I don't even have to pay for doctor's visits specifically, but I still have to pay for every prescription. Unless I have insurance that helps cover part of my prescriptions.
When I say healthcare, I am mostly talking about insurance in that realistically speaking, because health insurance should not exist.
Yeah,
Absurd.
it should not be a part of healthcare. It's just adding a
It should
middleman
not.
that exploits people.
I am, like I said, I am not someone who tries. I'm someone who tries to not talk about the concerning social issues of the day because I want to give people a reprieve from that. But I think it's pretty fair where I stand.
Yeah, that's totally fair. And in my stream, people do actually expect the political talk. They're okay with it. I've been cultivating that audience because, I mean, that's the stuff I like to talk about.
Entirely fair.
What change would you like to see in the VTuber community?
I'm still fairly fresh to the VTuber community, so like I only even joined like the things VTubers say Discord just to kind of get news at all regarding VTubers a few months ago. I I suppose I would encourage many more to be more seeing others as people first and like business relations, third,
Yeah, like,
if that makes sense.
remember, you're talking to a person. They're not just someone to
Absolutely.
collab with.
Right. And if like, collabing is how you shake hands on the first greeting, then by all means. But, remember that people are people and, I see a few like incidences here and there, not to say that they're common or anything of the such. But, I do see some instances of, like, oh, this person only, collabed with me to use me to help themselves grow, and now they don't talk to me or whatever. And, I only hear bits and pieces about any of these. I can't really, give an accurate assessment of any of that. But I can say that I feel treating others with basic dignity and respect should be a primary thought at the forefront of the mind, VTuber or otherwise.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that. Like, I've had my run in with a few people that have been like they're on for the use of getting their shout out on my platform, and we never
Hmm.
interact again. But I mean, like every single interview doesn't mean I'm becoming friends with that person, obviously. But
Right.
it's just nice when we do start having a bit of a nice rapport, and then
Hmm.
we're not out of nowhere. We're not mutuals on Twitter, and it's like, oh, okay.
Right. And,
Not
when we
not
were
even that it's
organized,
like the biggest deal to me. Like I'm not even gonna call people out for doing it. I don't care that much.
right.
But it's
Like,
just behavior to pay attention to.
precisely. Like when we were, kind of chatting to organize this, it definitely felt like we were on the same page about a lot of things. Like we could just like, just like have a jolly chat given the opportunity. And, I'd be entirely in favor of that I'm also incredibly bad at remembering who I have talked to if I don't have something immediately on the docket, or if I have an active reason to go to someone, I will, like, I have been accused of only, associating with someone out of convenience because, like, okay, they know this skill or they know this thing or something. And for me, it's not an active, you know, I have, like, like this black book of, people to take advantage of at a given moment, or, whatever ridiculous scenario.
Yeah,
I'm the
like
kind
a
of person
playbook.
who does not think of things or people in general if I'm not given a reason to do so, such as I am already looking at them, or like a profile, a representation thereof, or I have a reason to seek them out because I have, neurodivergence that makes that difficult. Like, I have friends who I played Final Fantasy 14 with for years and years that I think very highly of. And, like, we're talking about, like, folks who work in uh chemistry education and whatnot, and that's a very interesting thing. But they also like to do cooking stuff, and that's something that I want to tap into on occasion. But since I've been taking a break from FF14, I haven't really had the opportunity to speak with them casually, and I just don't really think about them in general until, like, something sparks. Right, they exist.
Yeah, like I don't try to actively forget about people or stuff. It's just life is busy and I get distracted pretty
Mm-hmm.
easily. Cause like I have a lot of people like sending tons of new information at me. So it's kind of
Mm-hmm.
hard for me to remember every single thing.
I couldn't even imagine. It's just, that sounds overwhelming to me.
Oh, it is the life. Soon I'll get paid for it.
Oh
Now I'm just
boy.
doing it for clout.
Uh,
I'm like preempting those accusations because like I don't care.
I'm just over here thinking, like, isn't it disgusting that you have to basically be an unpaid intern on your own damn show?
Yeah, pretty much. Pretty much. I think we got time for like one more question. So, hypothetically, the zombie apocalypse is happening. Who are your three choices of people on your team?
I would actually say the that friend of mine who I was mentioning, the chemistry educator, because that would be useful.
That would be quite useful to have on your team.
That'd be very useful. Two others. I would go with my mentor, Sarah, because I would want to be able to help her out as much as I can, and she would want to do the same, I imagine. Uh, and I would say that uh, third would probably have to be my best friend, Skitch, who I will actually be collaborating with tomorrow
Oh,
for
great.
my final leg of the
Oh no.
Prideathon event. You
Yeah?
okay?
The chalky milk is starting to affect my keyboard. I gotta use my phone for Discord.
Yeah, I was going to say you should probably handle that sooner than later.
Yeah, I might have that opportunity. Okay.
But
Keyboard got back.
yeah, I think Skitch would be the third one there because I'm actually collaborating with him tomorrow, as it turns out. But he's been also very helpful with just a lot of things in general. I know how to cook because he actually let me uh live with him over the course of the summer last year, specifically to teach me how to cook. And you know, I I struggle to kind of imagine getting things done without his assistance in a lot of realms.
Yeah, that makes sense. Like we all have those kinds of friends that we need to lean on in times.
Indeed.
I do try my best to be that friend for people that I can be. Even if we're like not directly friends, I'm still happy to answer any questions that people DM me about.
Mhm, mhm.
And like if I don't have the answer specifically, I can usually find somebody that I can point to that will more than likely have the answer.
Oh, that's my existence. Like, what do I know? I know dumb things. I don't know useful things.
Alrighty, so for the end of the video, would you like to shout yourself out?
I think I will take the opportunity provided. Yes, thank you. So, as said, I am on Twitch TV, Forneia, and for the final leg of the Prideathon, I will be doing an archipelago stream with Skitch tomorrow. And all of the incentives that I've built up until this point and those that occur then are going to be going on that day. I'm going to be drawing something in paint I cannot draw. I'm going to be singing a song. I know one song. Or at least I will if, I hit my 500 goal. Um, but I imagine that's going to be an entertaining time, and I would encourage folks come check that out if possible.
I encourage folks to check that out as well. Make sure you check out Fornea when she is live. She has been blast to talk to.
Thank you, thank you.
And thank you for coming on stream to talk and joining Diverse Hearts.
Absolutely. Now I'm going to take a little bit of a break because I have a desert bus to get on. Oh boy.
Oh, absolutely. You go right ahead and join that, or you go have your little break. I am going to let everybody know, and anybody new is not aware that we are doing charity event right now for Trans Lifeline, a grassroots hotline and nonprofit organization offering direct emotional and financial support to trans people in crisis. Learn more at translifeline.org.
They also help with microgrants in other respects, including body hair removal.
Oh, really? I didn't know that part.
Oh yes, the liaison actually threw that out as another thing in there. I'm like, I didn't know they offered that service.
Yeah, like the more you find out about them, the more based they seem.
They
I'm
are
glad we're supporting them.
powerful individuals, and I appreciate them.
Absolutely. Alrighty, you go unwind before you wait for that bus.
Oh boy, I'm
It
probably going to I'm probably going to be airdropping onto the bus, realistically speaking. Do you know how
I'm
difficult it is
tempted
to
to.
airdrop as a mermaid?
You just got to get the math right and you'll be fine. Don't worry about it.
You got to get the math right, and that's a desert bus. Good luck and good night.
Absolutely. I'm tempted to crash that stream myself when I'm out of interviews.
I would
But we'll
encourage it.
see. We'll see.
Have a good evening, and thank you very, very much for having me on.
You have a good evening as well, and thank you very much for joining me.
Thank you. Good night.
Good night. Take care.